The humans launch into space, and as their ships fly toward the distant planet, we see the dark, stormy world below. The Predator's lair is somewhere on that planet, and every moment that passes brings the princess closer to death. The tension is unbearable, and the clock is ticking. With the aliens and humans both moving into position, the story has only just begun. The visual tone of this scene is dark and tense. The alien world is filled with ominous clouds and flashes of lightning, hinting at the danger that lies ahead. The holographic maps glow with bright colors, showing the paths the humans will take and the Predator's dangerous territory. Fast-paced action kicks in as the human team prepares for their mission, the intensity of the situation clear on everyone's face. Colonel Kane stood in the command center, staring at the screen in front of him. The message from the alien king still echoed in his mind: "You are the last hope for my daughter, or the galaxy will fall." Despite the urgency, Kane couldn't shake the feeling of distrust. How could he, a human leader, rely on an alien species, especially one so different from his own? He paced back and forth, his mind racing. The humans had fought countless battles, but they had never faced a creature like the apex predator. And yet, the king's desperation was clear. The stakes were higher than ever. Kane's soldiers had faced danger before, but now they were facing the unknown. The predator was unlike anything they'd ever seen, and it had already killed countless alien soldiers. There was no time to hesitate. Finally, after a long silence, Kane spoke, his voice steady. "We don't have a choice. We're going to help him." He turned to his team, who had been waiting for his decision. "We do this for the princess. We do this for the galaxy." The team agreed without hesitation. They knew the mission would be dangerous, but they understood the bigger picture. They were not just fighting for a princess, they were fighting for something much greater, the survival of the galaxy. The alien king's representatives soon arrived, bringing with them advanced technology. Kane's team was equipped with cloaking devices, special weapons, and an AI assistant. The cloaking devices would allow them to sneak past the Predator's detection systems, while the weapons would give them a fighting chance if things went wrong. The AI assistant, named Ether, was cold and emotionless. It was the perfect example of the advanced technology the humans were up against. Ether's voice came through their earpieces, monotone and calculating. "Mission parameters confirmed. Approach coordinates are set. You will land in 30 minutes. Ensure all systems are fully operational." The soldiers exchanged uneasy glances. This AI was their ally, but its lack of warmth made it hard to trust. It didn't care about the soldiers' lives, it was only focused on the mission. Kane, however, understood the necessity. He had to use every tool at his disposal, even if it meant working with a machine that felt no emotions. As they prepared for the mission, Kane looked around at his team. His soldiers were quiet, focused, but there was a shared sense of determination among them. These weren't just ordinary soldiers. They were veterans who had lost families in wars. Some had lost wives, others children, all to the chaos of endless conflicts. This mission wasn't just about saving an alien princess, it was personal. Sergeant Bonner, one of Kane's best soldiers, spoke up. "We've lost everything before. But this time, we fight for something bigger. We fight for justice." Another soldier, Lieutenant Rodriguez, nodded in agreement. "We'll get her back. For every loss we've suffered, we'll make sure this predator never hurts anyone again." The emotions in the room were palpable. This wasn't just about duty anymore, it was about revenge, justice, and the hope that they could make a real difference. Each soldier had their own reasons for agreeing to the mission, but together they shared a common goal: to protect the galaxy from the terror of the apex predator. The time for preparation was over. The team boarded their ships, each of them wearing their cloaking devices and armed with advanced weapons. Ether's voice sounded in their earpieces again. "Prepare for entry. The predator's lair is now in range." With a final, determined glance at each other, the team made their way into space. The clock was ticking, and they were about to enter a battle that would test everything they knew about survival, trust, and sacrifice. The scene is filled with tension as the humans prepare for their mission. The visuals shift from the cold, emotionless AI interface to the human soldiers, showing the contrast between technology and humanity. The cloaking devices shimmer as they activate, blending the humans into the background. There's a sense of unease as the team faces the unknown, but also a powerful determination that makes them stronger. The dark vastness of space surrounds them as they launch toward their target, an alien planet filled with danger. The journey to the Death World was as dangerous as the king had described. Colonel Kane and his team were silent as they traveled through the vast emptiness of space. The dark, cold stars seemed far away as they approached their destination. Kane could see the planet in the distance, a barren, hostile world that made even the bravest soldiers feel uneasy. The planet, known as Zalador, was a death world, a place where everything was trying to kill you. Violent storms ravaged the surface, and strange creatures roamed the land. The air itself was thick with the scent of danger. Every second, the environment seemed to shift, as if the planet itself was alive, ready to strike. They were entering a nightmare. As their ships entered the atmosphere, Colonel Kane activated the cloaking devices on his team. Each soldier was now invisible to the planet's radar and scanners. The cloaking technology was a marvel, provided by the alien king. But it wasn't foolproof. The human soldiers knew the risks. If they weren't careful, the cloaks could fail, and they'd become sitting ducks for the deadly predators that hunted the surface. AI drones, sent ahead by the alien king, buzzed around them, sending real-time data to their helmets. The drones surveyed the terrain, providing intel on the predators lurking beneath the clouds. The AI was calculating in code, but its information was crucial. Still, there was a strange feeling that something was watching them. Every shadow seemed to move, every noise too loud. The eerie silence of the death world was broken only by the sound of the wind howling through the alien landscape. As they made their descent toward the planet's surface, the ground below seemed to shift and tremble, as if something massive was moving beneath it. The soldiers gripped their weapons tighter, their hearts pounding with both fear and excitement. They had no idea what awaited them. When they landed, the world around them seemed even more hostile up close. The ground was uneven, covered in sharp, jagged rocks, and the air smelled of sulfur and decay. There was no sign of life, only the eerie stillness that filled every corner of the planet. But Kane knew better than to trust the silence. Suddenly, without warning, the ground exploded around them. A group of highly intelligent alien predators appeared from the shadows, their cloaks dissolving as they attacked. The creatures were unlike anything the humans had ever seen. Their bodies were sleek and deadly, with sharp claws and glowing eyes that pierced through the darkness. They wielded advanced weapons, capable of cutting through armor and shields with ease. The humans were caught off guard, but they quickly adapted. Kane shouted orders, and his squad fell into action. Sergeant Bonner was the first to react, using his training to dodge a deadly strike from one of the predators. He fired his plasma rifle, hitting the creature square in the chest. It staggered back, but the predator was not down yet. Lieutenant Rodriguez, with lightning-fast reflexes, engaged another predator in close-quarters combat. She used her combat knife to deflect a blade aimed at her, then twisted the predator's arm, disarming it before landing a decisive blow to its throat. The predator fell, but there was no time to celebrate. More were coming. The soldiers fought back fiercely, using their raw combat skills to hold off the predators. Despite the technological superiority of their enemies, the humans fought with grit and determination. They used their environment to their advantage, hiding behind rocks and using the terrain to launch surprise attacks. The predators were powerful, but the humans were relentless. Kane and his team managed to push the predators back, but the fight was far from over. The battle had only just begun. The predators were smarter than they had anticipated, and more were closing in. It was clear that they had underestimated the dangers of the death world, but the humans weren't backing down. They had a mission, and nothing was going to stop them from rescuing the princess. As the last predator fell, Kane turned to his team. "This is just the beginning," he said, his voice grim. "We need to move fast. The apex predator is still out there." The squad nodded, ready for the next challenge. They had survived the first wave, but the hardest part was still ahead. The action is fast and brutal as the humans face off against the alien predators. The visuals shift between the eerie, shifting landscapes of the death world and the intense close-quarters combat. The cloaking devices flicker and fade as the soldiers engage in battle, adding an element of urgency and suspense. The dark skies and jagged terrain create a sense of isolation, heightening the danger. The predators, with their glowing eyes and deadly weapons, are a constant threat, but the humans' resourcefulness and teamwork keep them in the fight. The air grew heavier as Colonel Kane and his team approached the apex predator's lair. The sky above them was a swirling mass of violent storms, dark clouds crackling with energy. They had made it to the heart of Zalador, but what awaited them inside the fortress was far more terrifying than they had imagined. The lair itself was a massive, ruined structure, a relic from an ancient civilization that once thrived on the planet. The walls were crumbling, and the architecture was unlike anything the humans had seen, alien, yet strangely familiar. The air was thick with tension as they moved through the broken corridors, their footsteps echoing through the vast halls. The fortress seemed abandoned, but Kane knew better. The apex predator was always watching. As they moved deeper into the lair, the squad encountered traps, deadly energy fields, sudden walls that would drop from above, and pits that led to an endless abyss. The soldiers moved carefully, relying on their training and their cloaking devices to stay hidden. But it was clear that the predator knew they were coming. Its presence was everywhere, an unsettling feeling, like being stalked by something far more intelligent than they could comprehend. They reached the heart of the fortress, a large chamber filled with strange alien artifacts and advanced technology. But there, standing in the center of the room, was the apex predator. It was larger than they expected, its muscular frame towering over them. Its eyes glowed with a cold, calculating intelligence. The creature was more than just a hunter, it was a predator at the top of the food chain, and it had been waiting for them. The first attack came suddenly. The apex predator charged at them with lightning speed, its claws outstretched. The humans fired their weapons, but the creature was too fast. It dodged their shots and struck back with a strength that sent soldiers flying. The battle was more intense than anything they had faced before. The predator was relentless, its every move a deadly strike. As the squad tried to regroup, they were ambushed by robot IC sentries, defenders of the lair programmed to protect the apex predator. These robotic soldiers were armed with energy weapons and advanced technology, but they were no match for the humans' determination. The soldiers fought back with everything they had, using their cloaking devices to evade attacks and setting traps of their own. The battle was chaotic, each moment filled with gunfire and explosions. But the true danger was the apex predator itself. It moved like a blur, striking with deadly precision. Despite the humans' best efforts, they were struggling to keep up. The predator's intelligence was its greatest weapon, it anticipated their moves, outsmarting them at every turn. One by one, the soldiers fell back, unable to land a decisive blow. Then, in the middle of the chaos, Sergeant Bonner was struck. A brutal swipe from the predator's claws left him mortally wounded. Blood stained the floor as he collapsed, but his spirit didn't falter. Kane rushed to his side, trying to stop the bleeding, but Bonner knew there was no hope. With his final breath, Bonner looked up at Kane, his eyes filled with a mix of regret and pride. "You have to protect the princess," he whispered, his voice weak but firm. "Finish this, for all of us." The moment was heartbreaking. Bonner's death was not just a loss of a soldier, but a symbol of their mission's cost. Kane felt the weight of the loss in his chest. But it also fueled his resolve. He couldn't let Bonner's sacrifice be in vain. With renewed determination, the humans pushed forward, knowing that the fate of the galaxy, and the princess, rested on their shoulders. They couldn't afford to fail. The apex predator, now even more enraged, let out a deafening roar, signaling the beginning of the final confrontation. The fortress was alive with danger, but Cain and his team had no choice but to face it head-on. The stakes had never been higher, and they would stop at nothing to ensure that the princess was saved. The visuals in this section are dark and intense, reflecting the dangerous atmosphere of the apex predator's lair. The ruined fortress looms like a forgotten kingdom, its broken walls and alien symbols creating a sense of mystery and dread. The stormy skies outside contrast with the eerie stillness inside the lair, heightening the tension. The action scenes are fast-paced and brutal, with explosions, laser blasts, and hand-to-hand combat, showing the human soldier's struggle against a superior enemy. The emotional depth is amplified by Bonner's death. His last words to Cain are a reminder of the personal stakes of this mission. His sacrifice strengthens the human resolve, highlighting the emotional connection between the characters. The loss also makes the audience feel the weight of their journey, raising the stakes for the final confrontation with the apex predator. The atmosphere in the lair was thick with tension. The fortress trembled as the final battle began, a showdown that would determine the fate of the princess, and the future of the galaxy. Colonel Cain and his team stood at the entrance of the chamber, weapons in hand, their faces grim. They had made it this far, but now they faced the deadliest threat of all, the apex predator. This creature was not just a monster, it was a terrifying hybrid, an intelligent being whose speed, strength, and deadly instincts had made it a force to be reckoned with. Its eyes glowed with a malevolent intelligence, and it was ready to end the humans who dared to challenge it. But Cain and his soldiers were determined. They would not fail. The battle unfolded in a series of brutal, heart-pounding moments. The humans and aliens exchanged fire with the predator, dodging its deadly claws and laser blasts. The atmosphere was chaotic, the walls of the lair shaking with each impact. The humans used everything they had, their cloaking devices, their combat training, and their resourcefulness. Despite the predator's incredible power, they fought back, determined to protect the princess and avenge their fallen comrades. Above, in the skies, the battle intensified. The alien king had ordered orbital bombardment, sending waves of powerful blasts from above, aimed at the predator's lair. The explosions lit up the sky, creating a stunning visual of destruction. But the predator was not so easily defeated. It adapted to every attack, evading the blasts with remarkable agility, making it clear that this would not be an easy fight. As the chaos raged around them, Cain knew they had to act fast. He reached for the powerful weapon the alien king had provided, an advanced energy weapon capable of piercing the predator's tough hide. The weapon hummed with energy as Cain took aim. But the predator was fast, too fast. It lunged at him, forcing Cain to engage in a brutal hand-to-hand fight. The two clashed, the predator's claws slashing at Cain's armor, leaving deep gashes. But Cain was determined. He fought with everything he had, using his training and sheer willpower to hold his ground. The predator was relentless, but the humans had something the creature did not, teamwork and ingenuity. The humans coordinated their attacks, using their cloaking devices to remain undetected while setting traps and ambushes. They worked together, each member of the squad covering the other, buying time for Cain to make his move. Despite being outgunned and outmanned, they kept pushing forward. Every blow, every shot fired, brought them closer to victory. Finally, in a moment of pure resolve, Cain saw his chance. The predator, distracted by a well-placed attack from one of the soldiers, faltered for just a second. Cain, using his advanced weapon, fired. The blast hit the predator squarely in the chest, and the creature let out an ear-piercing roar as it collapsed. But the fight wasn't over. The predator was not finished yet, it was still alive, its rage burning brighter than ever. Cain charged forward one final time, delivering the killing blow. The predator's body hit the ground with a deafening thud, its lifeless eyes staring into the distance. The humans stood over the fallen creature, breathing heavily, covered in blood and sweat. They had defeated the apex predator, but it had come at a cost. Bonner's death weighed heavily on their hearts, and the loss of a friend, a brother in arms, was not something they would forget. But in that moment, they knew they had honored Bonner's sacrifice. They had protected the princess, saved the galaxy from certain destruction, and proven to themselves and to the galaxy that humans were not to be underestimated. They had faced a threat beyond anything they could have imagined, and they had come out victorious. As the storm clouds outside began to clear, the humans and their alien allies stood together. The princess was safe. The galaxy had been spared. And the humans, once seen as primitive, had shown the universe that their resilience, strength, and unity could overcome even the greatest of challenges. After the brutal battle and the victory over the apex predator, the atmosphere in the alien fortress began to settle. The once violent storm outside had cleared, and the air seemed to grow still. The humans stood, battered and bruised, but victorious. The princess was safe. The mission had been a success. As Colonel Kane and his team made their way back to the alien king, they were met with a scene of immense relief. The alien king, a powerful and regal figure, had been anxiously waiting for news of his daughter's rescue. His eyes were filled with gratitude, and when he saw the princess safe, a wave of emotion washed over him. He rushed to her, embracing her as if she were the most precious thing in the universe. "I thought I'd lost you forever," the king murmured, holding his daughter close. The princess smiled softly, nodding in acknowledgement. She had been through so much, and now she was finally free from the predator's clutches. But it was the humans, these primitive creatures, who had made it all possible. The king turned to Colonel Kane, his expression filled with admiration. "You've saved my daughter, and in doing so, you've saved us all. The galaxy owes you a debt it can never repay." He looked at the humans, each one of them standing proud despite the exhaustion in their eyes. The alien king's gratitude was genuine, but so too was his pride in the human strength and resilience. The king, in his honor and gratitude, offered the humans advanced technology, ships, weapons, and resources beyond anything they could ever imagine. He promised them the tools to conquer and explore the stars, to become a power unlike any other. But to his surprise, Colonel Kane and his team refused. "We appreciate your offer," Kane said, his voice calm but firm, "but we don't fight for power or wealth. We fight for what's right." He glanced at his soldiers, each of them nodding in agreement. "We may be primitive in your eyes, but we value our independence. We have everything we need on Earth, and we don't need to become like the rest of the galaxy to prove ourselves." The king was taken aback. For a moment, he did not know how to respond. These humans, who he had once viewed as nothing more than weak and primitive, had just faced the most fearsome predator in the galaxy, and won. They had done it with courage, unity, and honor. He had underestimated them, but now he saw them for what they truly were, a force to be reckoned with. Finally, the king nodded. "I understand. You have proven that true strength comes not from power or technology, but from the heart and soul. I will never forget what you've done for my daughter, or for our people." With a final exchange of gratitude, the humans prepared to leave the alien world. But before they departed, Colonel Kane shared a quiet moment with the princess. They stood together, overlooking the ruined fortress that had been the site of so much pain and suffering, now a symbol of victory. The princess looked at Kane with respect in her eyes. "You've done something no one else could. You've shown me that humans are far stronger than I ever imagined." Kane gave a small smile, the weight of the mission heavy on his shoulders but the sense of accomplishment undeniable. "We don't fight for glory," he said quietly. "We fight for those we love, and for what's right." As the humans left the alien world, their ship rising into the skies, Colonel Kane looked back at Earth. He knew this victory, this battle, had changed everything. It was a victory for humanity, not just over an alien predator, but over the perception that they were weak and insignificant. Now, the galaxy would know the truth: humanity was a force to be reckoned with. And for Kane, this was just the beginning. The story opens with a dramatic scene on an alien planet. In a dark, cold throne room, the alien king sits on his high, golden chair, looking desperate and anxious. Sweat drips from his forehead as he stares at a holographic display that shows the image of a beautiful, young alien princess, the king's daughter, captured by a terrifying apex predator. The predator is not just any wild creature. It is a massive, intelligent beast, known for hunting down and killing anything in its path, regardless of how advanced the species is. The king knows that no one is safe from its deadly claws and fangs. Even the strongest, most powerful armies have fallen before this creature. The princess is everything to him, and losing her would mean the end of his lineage, and possibly the fall of his entire empire. In his desperation, the king turns to a species he considers primitive: humans. He has heard strange stories from his scouts, rumors about how humans are able to survive in hostile environments, even on the most dangerous of planets. He has no choice. If he doesn't act now, his daughter will die, and the galaxy will be plunged into chaos. The king's heart pounds as he quickly contacts a human military leader, a commander on Earth. The commander's reputation has spread far and wide, and despite the king's doubts about the human race, he knows the commander is his last hope. The message from the king appears on the human leader's screen. The human sees a strange face, glowing with blue light, and the words flash across the screen. "You are the last hope for my daughter, or the galaxy will fall." The king's voice trembles with urgency, and his words carry the weight of life and death. The message sends a chill through the human leader's spine. The human military leader, Colonel Kane, is a seasoned officer, known for his strategic brilliance. But even he hesitates. Humans are known for being primitive, without the advanced technologies and powers of other races. How could they stand a chance against such a deadly predator? Yet, the stakes are clear. Time is running out. The fate of the princess and the entire galaxy rests in Kane's hands. After a moment of thought, Kane's hand slams down on the table in determination. His voice is firm when he responds, "We'll do it. We'll save her." The camera zooms in on Colonel Kane's face as he orders his team to prepare for the mission. The room is full of tension as Kane and his military crew gear up, knowing this will be their most dangerous mission yet. They've faced enemies before, but nothing like this apex predator. The humans are seen as underdogs in this mission, but they will use everything they have: advanced weaponry, cunning tactics, and their unshakable resolve. Meanwhile, on the alien planet, the king watches the humans' preparations with a mix of hope and fear. His world is dark, with clouds swirling in a violent storm above. A massive holographic map floats in front of him, showing the location of the apex predator on a barren, hostile planet. The king's eyes flicker with concern as he looks at the screen. He knows that if the humans fail, there will be no one else left to stop the predator. The galaxy's last hope rests on these primitive humans. The scene shifts back to Earth, where Kane's team assembles in a sleek, high-tech control room. The humans are ready, but they know they are facing something far more dangerous than anything they have fought before. They are given cloaking devices, special weapons, and an AI assistant to help them navigate the dangerous terrain. It is clear that the humans have advanced technology too, though it is nothing compared to the alien technology they will face. But one thing the humans have that the aliens don't is their relentless courage and determination. As the team prepares to board their ships, Kane addresses them, his voice steady and commanding. "We have one mission: save the princess and end the threat. We may be outnumbered and outgunned, but we fight for something bigger than ourselves."